Hey friends! So for today's video, we're going to be talking about the most disappointing releases of 2019. And I thought about doing like another worst products of the year like I did last year, link in a card. But I realized I didn't actually buy that much this year that I didn't like. Like there's literally not enough products that I could talk about stuff being like the worst. I feel like I stopped myself from buying a lot of stuff that sucked. Like, I don't think, there was maybe one or two products that I would consider shitty enough to talk about in a video. So in lieu of that, I wanted to do a video talking about just disappointing releases, just shit that I was just disappointed in. I wasn't mad, I was disappointed. These makeup releases were me and I was my dad. I was just disappointed, okay? So I have a list of things, and we are going to be avoiding talking about stuff that I actually wasn't expecting anything good from. So anything that I talked about that I roasted the shit out of in anti-hauls, it's not going to be included. We're going to be talking about stuff that I really wanted to be good, but they weren't. That's what's disappointing about them, is that I wanted to like them, and then they just didn't do what I wanted, you know? First thing we're going to talk about is the Urban Decay Game of Thrones palette. The entire collection was an absolute mess. I remember when they announced the collection on Trend Mood, it was like, ooh, Urban Decay and Game of Thrones, holy shit, it's gonna be amazing. And this was before we knew that just Game of Thrones in general was gonna be disappointing this season. And then they came out with a palette, and I was like, what is this? I don't want this. It literally, looking at it, I could see how they could have made it great. Quadrants. They had 4 quads just in a big old, just make quads, okay? Just make quads, Urban Decay. We didn't need this giant thing that had all the houses. I didn't want any Lannister shit. No, I didn't want any Lannister things. It was just so disappointing. The highlighter bronzer thing was disappointing. The lipsticks were bleh, but the palette itself was just bulky and dumb, and I wanted to like it because Game of Thrones is one of those intellectual properties where I'm like,
oh, fucking love it all. I want it. Ah.
It made me sad. It made me sad. I was like, damn it. And that was just the first domino of what turned out to be a very disappointing Game of Thrones year. God damn it. Frickin' Urban Decay. Next, we're gonna talk about the Honey release from ColourPop. Now, myself, several other people that I know that I'm friends with, we were wanting a yellow palette from ColourPop for so long. So when they announced it, I was like, man, not only were the colors kind of underwhelming, the yellows kind of all looked similar, they weren't vibrant enough, and there was a chunky glitter in it, and I'm like, no, ColourPop, no, it was just not what I wanted from a yellow palette, and it was they could have made it super duper bright, but they made it more honey toned, and then it just wasn't. It was just really underwhelming. I didn't buy any of the monochromatic stuff from ColourPop this year, but it was the yellow one that I was really excited for, and it was just not something that I wanted. And I was disappointed. I was expecting more, and I didn't get it. And now ever since then, I just don't expect anything, so I'm not as disappointed. Thankfully, Midas shot out the gate with a fucking lemonade palette, and I was like, ooh, this is much more my speed. So then I bought that, and that's what I ended up using, and that's what I ended up loving. So next is BH Cosmetics' entire Zodiac line this year. Each and every palette, I swear, when I saw it come out, I was like, what is this? Why is this? I just felt bad for all the other Zodiac signs. The original Zodiac, the bigger Zodiac palettes, they were good. I have one. It's good. It's big, but it's good. And then when the individual Zodiac signs came out, I was just like, okay, that was kind of boring. I talked about them at the beginning of the year during anti-hauls, and then I just stopped paying attention because they were all boring, and it was just not that exciting. And I feel like they hyped it up so much with the 2 other Zodiac palettes, the big Zodiac palettes, so we were expecting oh, just killer little palettes, and I feel like I didn't see anybody get super excited about those. Made me sad. It made me sad. Next, we're gonna talk about Urban Decay again. Urban Decay, they discontinued the original Naked palette, and they kind of stopped doing the Naked ones for a while. Who am I kidding? They just keep doing Naked stuff all the time. And then they came out with the Naked Reloaded palette, and I looked at it and I was like, That's just the Sultry palette from Anastasia. Urban Decay, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like, it was kind of funny just looking at it. Like, I used the Sultry palette on my eyes today, and just looking, I was just like, oh no. Like, I felt bad. Like, I felt bad because it looked so similar. It didn't live up to the hype. It didn't live up to like, ooh, Naked, we're reloading the Naked palette. And I was thinking that they were gonna like reformulate stuff from the original palette and kind of add some new colors and stuff, but it was just nothing exciting and new because we had already seen the Sultry palette like a month before. I think I talked about it in an anti-all when I mentioned it. It was like that scene in Bring It On when Sparky Pilastri showed everybody the same routine, and then when one cheer team went up and did the routine, somebody else was like, oh shit, we have the same routine, this is gonna be deja vu. So that's just what it was. I was kind of bored, but I was kind of excited to see like, ooh, what are they gonna do? Like, is it gonna be like, are they gonna fuck up the game again? Because when the original Naked palette came out, it changed the game. Like, that was like, at the time, it was kind of not like revolutionary. I feel like that's when like big makeup like got big, like started to get big. And so I was hoping that they were gonna just like give us nostalgic feels. And then they didn't. We're gonna talk about a couple of Fenty things. This first one I am gonna talk about, they did end up like turning it around. The initial launch of the Fenty Geisha Chic. Oh, that one was a yikes. Initially, like, people really pounced on it real quickly and they were like, oh, this is pretty. Oh, that's what it's called? No, let's not do that. And so Fenty thankfully took it offline, like they weren't selling it, and they completely changed the name. Now it's called, what is it even called? Ruby Riches. Such a better name. Why did they call it Geisha Chic in the first place? I don't know. That initial release and that initial launch, I was like, oh no, Fenty, why? Like, you were supposed to be the woke queens. They heard the criticism, they changed it around, they stopped the release, so I'm glad that that was their response to the initial backlash, and they were like, oh no, okay, just cut it off, let's just stop it, let's just hold up. And then the Fenty Hydrating Foundation, I was so fucking hyped for that foundation because when the initial Fenty launch happened, it changed the game. Like, the initial Fenty foundation launch 2 years ago, was it 2 years ago, 2.5? However long ago, it raised the bar for foundation ranges and for inclusivity. And so I was super fucking hyped that they were coming out with a hydrating version because I wanted to be able to try stuff from Fenty for my complexion. The initial foundation was too dry for me, wouldn't work on my face. So I got a sample of the hydrating foundation. I went into Sephora, I tried it out. The color wasn't a perfect match, so I don't know if I just like swatched the wrong ones or whatever. But when I got it home and I tried it on my face, it just didn't look good. I feel like it made my face kind of itch, and it was almost like too dewy, like too oily. And coming from me, I'm like, I want all the dew on my face. It didn't sit well on my skin. It just wasn't what I wanted. And I've said before in videos, I do not buy foundations unless I really, 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 really know I'm gonna love it. I ended up liking the Anastasia foundation better, but I still didn't even buy the Anastasia foundation because I still like the BareMinerals one that I use all the time more than both of them. So yeah, the Fenty one, I was so excited. And it just wasn't what I wanted. It wasn't the foundation that I wanted to use, and it didn't feel nice on my face. Like, it just didn't feel good on my face. And I have sensitive skin, so I can tell if something is like, I can feel stuff underneath here. I was sad because I really wanted to love it. I really did. 3 more. We have the Melt Blue stack. What was it even called? The shimmery blue stack from Melt. This was when I was like hardcore on Melt's game. Like, I was like, I had just gotten the Smoke Sessions palette, I had the Gemini palette. All of this was all happening like pretty close together. And I was really excited about the blue stack because I didn't actually have any of Melt's stacks. They're pretty expensive and kind of cumbersome. I've since found out that the actual stacks themselves, they're a pain in the ass to store, so I'm not really gonna buy any of them just for that reason alone. When it came out, I was like, ooh, this looks pretty. Oh my God, the formula looks gorgeous. It just looks like the blue version of the Smoke Sessions. Holy shit. And then when people started getting their packages and it was still breaking, I was like, Melt, melt. Fucking fix your formula, fix your shipping, stop sending things broken. I was so mad and I was so angry. I was just so disappointed that they hadn't fixed that. It kind of put a bad taste in my mouth for the rest of the year with melt stuff. Like, they put out some really gorgeous products that I thought about buying myself, but I didn't end up buying anything the rest of the year, except like a lipstick online, and it just, I wanted that stack. I did, because the colors were absolutely beautiful. The marketing images, absolutely gorgeous. The looks that people were getting from it were really, really pretty. But also, it wasn't all blue. There was like half blue and half brown. And I was like, no, we want an entire blue stack. Stop. It was just so lame. And after like the high that I had from like how fucking awesome the Gemini palette was and the Smoke Sessions palette being so good, I was expecting more and I didn't get it. Next, we're going to talk about Lady Gaga's launch, and I'm not going to go in too much on it because I feel like y'all have heard me talk about Lady Gaga on Amazon enough this year, and I know, sometimes I'm relentless, sometimes I'm a social justice harpy. I know, and I'm okay with that. But I wanted Lady Gaga's makeup line to be so good. Like, in the initial video where I talked about it and I was pissed off about it, I said I wanted another female musician like Rihanna to come like fuck it up and like have a really cool makeup brand. And of all people, Lady Gaga had all the cards stacked for her. Everything could have been amazing. And the initial like product shots and the initial PR shots, like it looked really cool, really editorial, really inclusive, like kind of more androgynous people in the marketing images. They had guys in makeup. So it was cool. I was stoked. And then when the actual products came out, they didn't look that exciting. It was very underwhelming. It was very boring looking. And the fact that they released it exclusively with Amazon was a hardcore no for me. It was really, really disappointing because I wanted to love it. I wanted her to succeed, and she could succeed. She could have succeeded, but I feel like that there's enough people that are just kind of not stoked on it. And we've since learned that like just Amazon isn't known for putting out good products. It was a no from me, dog. All the reviews I've seen of it since have just been kind of like meh. I wanted House Labs to be good, and then it wasn't. And I couldn't bring myself to buy any of it because of the whole Amazon thing and the pre-sale and the Prime Day thing. I couldn't bring myself to buy any of it, even just to try it. And if that wasn't the case, if it hadn't have been sold through Amazon, I probably would have bought something to try it, to see if it was good, but I couldn't do it. I was like, damn it, Gaga. Fucking A, man. I was pissed. I was pissed off. I was not happy about it. And y'all know, because I made an entire video telling people to not buy it. You know, that's been like the only time in my anti-hauls. I always try to balance it being like, this is what I'm not gonna buy. This is what nobody needs, you know, and I try to keep it more about myself. This was the only time in the entire year, besides Jaclyn Hill, where I was like, do not buy this for this reason. I still stand by it. Like, I'm still pissed off about it. So I wanted it to be good, and it wasn't, you know. And then the last thing we're going to talk about is the entire launch generally, like the entire like general launch of the Norina kind of capsule collection with Anastasia. Now, I don't own any of the products. I can't speak to the quality. I've heard that the quality is very good, and I don't doubt that the quality is good. I'm not saying I won't ever buy anything from the Norina collection, you know? But what I am saying was that the initial rollout of it was disappointing because it was confusing. We weren't given all the same information all the way through the process. It either happened too fast or not fast enough, where it was just unclear of what they were doing because it came out of left field. And a ton of videos have been made talking about how exhausted people were with Anastasia releases back a few months ago, because that's all when it happened. And I feel like just the launch, the rollout of it just left a bad taste in my mouth and left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths for the rest of the year. And then the Carly Bible palette came out and everybody was like, I don't fucking care anymore. It wasn't what it could have been. Like, if they had launched everything all at the same time and it was like, surprise, Norina has her own little like end cap in Sephora. It's still going to be under Anastasia, but it's going to be its own little collection. And if that all had dropped at the exact same time, where everybody knew the selection that they had and everybody knew this is what it was going to be, that would have been awesome. That would have been super cool if they had launched everything all at the same time and said, here it is, take your pick. But it wasn't that. It was, here's a palette, here's another palette, here's another palette. Surprise, it's all under a thing. Here's 2 more little palettes and some glitters. It seemed ill-planned. It didn't sit well with me. So, and I feel it didn't sit well with a lot of people, as we all know. Like, everybody was pissed off about it. So that whole launch, just in general, was just really disappointing for me this year. And again, it was another thing where I'm like, this could have been really good, and I really wanted to like it, and I really wanted to be excited for it, because I love Anastasia's eyeshadows, and Anastasia is like the brand that I have as close to stand, you know, over the years. Like, I own the most things from Anastasia, and I own the most eyeshadow palettes. I keep going back to their brow products. I love Anastasia. I love the brand. And so specifically, especially for that one, I was disappointed because I was like, I expected more. I expected more. That was stuff I expect from ColourPop. It was more surprising coming from Anastasia, which is why I think it was more disappointing, because it was not, it was like out of character for the brand. So that one, I was a bit disappointed, you know. I wasn't happy about it. So that was everything that I could think of that I was the most disappointed with this year. All the launches that came out that I was like, I don't want it. And stuff that I did want, stuff that I was excited for, and then I was like, never mind. Never mind. In a way, I'm like, thanks, because then I didn't spend more and I didn't buy things because it wasn't as good as I wanted it to be. So, double-edged sword, you know. Let me know in the comments below what were some of your most disappointing releases of the year. Like I said at the beginning of the video, this doesn't include anything that I thought was absolute shit from brands that I also don't fuck with. So if you want to see any of that stuff, check out my anti-hauls below. For today's song of the day, let's see. What have I been listening to? Pre-filming is always complicated for song of the day because I'm like, damn. Today's song of the day is Text Later from Spoon. It is off a very recent single EP thing. It's part of their collective Everything Hits All at Once. Everything Hits at Once. It's like a best of Spoon thing. If you need like a big ol' like a primer on like Spoon music, definitely check out the Everything Hits at Once. I'll leave a link to it in the description below. If you like indie rock, yeah, that's the music that I like. So give this video a like if you liked it. Thanks so much to my patrons for being patient with me this month. It's been a lot, but thank you. If you're new here and you want to subscribe, hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell to get notified when I upload stuff. I'm uploading things all month long. So check out the rest of Vlogmas. I've been posting every day. So check out my other videos this month. See if you like it. You know, it's all here. I'll have a playlist. I got a playlist below. So on that note, I will see you all tomorrow. Okay, bye.